guys, so today we are going to be playing with the new Colourpop palette. So it's called the Honey palette. I'm just going to call it Honey palette because saying Honey is just going to get really annoying. So I have already opened this because I wanted to post a picture on my Insta story, but I will open it again because I put it back into the package because I'm being a good YouTuber. So it just comes in a package like this, like all of the other monochromatic palettes from Colourpop do. This is the palette. It has one of those foam things inside of it that's going to fall out. Yep, there it goes. This is what the palette looks like. So as you can see, it's a very kind of boring monochromatic yellow palette. There's really not much to it. So we are going to be doing our first impression a little bit differently today. Also, before we get into that, if you want to know more information about this palette, I will leave the link to Colourpop's website down below so you can go check that out yourself. I'm going to take off the sticker thing on the mirror. So what I want to do today is, because I don't really see this palette as a standalone palette. I rarely say that. I don't know, this palette to me just does not have enough depth and dimension to really be considered a standalone palette for me personally. So what I want to do is I want to randomly draw two single mattes from my singles collection to pair with this palette. So I think that's what I'm gonna do. Before we do that though, I do think I want to swatch this palette just so you guys can actually see like the color story of this. So we're gonna go ahead and swatch this the way that I always do, just go from left to right, top to bottom. And then we'll talk a little bit about the swatches, and then we'll get into the fun stuff and applying them on my eyes and drawing some random shadows and stuff like that. So let me just do the swatches real quick and I'll be right back. Okay, so I will be completely honest and say that I don't think any of the mattes in this palette really swatch that good, but to be fair, Colourpop's mattes don't really swatch that good in general in my experience, but they perform a lot better on the eye, so I'm not really worried about it. The loose glitter, or the glitter shade in here, I probably forgot to even mention that, but there is a pressed glitter. It's this middle shade. It's called Palooza. I didn't use any glitter glue or anything like that on my arm because I'm just going to be wiping it away anyway, so I just wanted to kind of get a swatch up there so you can see what it looks like, but obviously if you do put some glitter glue down, it's going to look a lot better and look a lot more opaque. So I do think I want to use that shadow today, but let's go ahead and draw some other shadows because I want to have something that's not just yellow in my crease. So that's what we're gonna do. So I'm gonna go ahead and pull up my wheel now, and then we're going to spin two random shadows from my collection. So you'll see I've actually managed to update my wheels because I really want this to be like a series on my channel. I've only done it with my single shadows, I haven't done it with the rest of my collection, but let's go ahead and spin for the first matte shadow here that I want to use with this palette, and we will see what we get. So the first one's going to be, oh, MBA Cosmetics Raspberry. I actually haven't tried any of these shadows because I wanted to do a first impression on them, but I guess we'll be using that today. We're going to be drawing one more though, so let's see what else that we get. Alright, so the next, wow, we get a black shade. Okay, so this is interesting. Let me grab those two colors and then we're going to go ahead and get into the look with these. So here are the shadows that I ended up drawing. This is Rumors by MBA Cosmetics. The reason why I wrote raspberry on it is just because of the color, and they have like a sticker on here that's just not on very well, so I didn't know if I would maybe eventually lose that sticker. So the thing about these shadows is that I'm not sure if they are supposed to be mattes or shimmers, so I kind of put them in both categories because I just didn't know. But I feel like it's like a satin. Like, I feel like it can be used as both. So we are going to be using this as a matte today. And I also ended up drawing Karma by Devinah, which is just a matte black. So I don't really think I need to swatch that out for you because y'all know what a black matte looks like. But these are the extra shadows that I will be pairing with the Honey palette. So basically what we are working with is going to be this. So I think this is going to be a lot more interesting than if I were to just use this palette by itself. So I'm going to go ahead and prime my eyes with my MAC Paint Pot in Soft Ochre, and then we can get into putting some of these on our eyes, seeing how they perform. Like I said, I do also want to try that pressed glitter, even though I'm not really a glitter person, but since it's in the palette, I do want to test it out. So let me go ahead and prime and I'll be right back. Alright, so I think we're just going to start. I think what I want to do is I want to save this shadow here for the lower lash line, and then we're going to be using most of these on the lid as well as the black to deepen everything up with. So I'm first going to start off by taking Sweet Spot, which is the kind of pure yellow, and I'm going to put that into my crease because I do want this to be, you know, a yellow look since it's a yellow palette. I don't want all of the other shadows to really take over, so I'm going to just really pack this into my crease now and see how pigmented I am able to get this. And I'm being very heavy-handed when I'm dipping my brush into the palette. Just taking this all the way from inner corner to outer corner of my eye. And this is actually showing up very well, so I am impressed by that. This seems like a pretty good yellow. Now I just hope that it kind of keeps its vibrancy when I go in with some other shadows on top of this. That's why I'm going to be pulling this up pretty high because I don't want to lose the shadow. So that's quite beautiful. That works out really well. So next what I'm going to do is I'm going to go into Buzzkill, which is the darkest shadow in this palette. I do wish that they had something a little bit darker though. I don't know. I guess I wanted to just keep it to yellows, but I do feel like if ever there's a time to have like a very nice deep matte brown, it would be in this palette. But we're going to go into Buzzkill and I'm going to use that to just deepen up my crease with, and then afterwards I'm going to go in with the black and really try to get some dimension to this. So I don't feel like this shadow is really showing up that well on my eye at all, and if this is the darkest shadow in the palette, like I said, I don't consider this to be a standalone palette, even though for the most part I can make most palettes work and get like different looks out of it, but I really feel like most looks that you do with this palette are just going to end up looking so similar. So this is also not a palette that I will do a Thrillix1 palette with. I'm just putting that out there right away because I'm not inspired enough to use this palette as, you know, its own palette and do multiple looks with it. I'm just probably going to be using this palette along with other palettes. So I'm just using the shadow now to just deepen everything up with. It's laying down nicely. It's performing well though, so I don't really have any complaints other than I wish it was a little bit darker. Alright, so let's go in with the black now. I feel like this black is probably going to kind of take over the look a little bit, but that's okay because I like a very dark dramatic eye with the black eyeshadow, so I am going to be pretty heavy-handed with this. And I'm just going to start by packing this on the outer corner of my eye here. As you can see, this is very, very black and matte and pigmented, which is exactly what I like in my shadows. So I'm first just focusing it on the outer corner, and then when I feel like I've gotten most of the pigment down on my eye, I'm going to start taking my brush and just using very small circular motions and just pull this through my crease using very, very light pressure. You don't want to use a lot of pressure when working with black eyeshadow, especially one that's very pigmented. And I feel like getting black with this palette kind of works because, you know, honeys, bees, it kind of makes sense to have some black in with the yellow. So I am going to go ahead and perfect the other eye after. I just want to get the shadow down first to be the way that I want it, and then I'm going to probably dip into the brown again and use that to help kind of blend this black out, because I don't want to pull the black up too high because I don't want it to go all the way up in my crease. I just want it to be high enough up that when I look straight ahead I can see a little bit of the black just kind of poking through. So I'm just taking it slow, even though I'm sure a lot of people would say that this isn't taking it slow at all, because I do like to go in pretty heavy with my shadows, but that's just how I like to do my makeup. Alright, so I'm going to go ahead and wipe off my brush now on the towel that I have in front of me, and I'm going to dip back into Buzzkill, which was the brown shadow. And I'm just going to go ahead and blend that right between the yellow and the black, and just use this to kind of blend everything together. I'm also taking a bit more of that yellow that we first put in the crease, and I'm just going to bring this back and just run this right above everything else here. This yellow actually seems to layer really nicely, which is a good quality to have in the yellow. And I'm then going to go into my MBA Cosmetics shadow, and I'm going to place that on the outer part of my lower lash line. I don't know if I should be spraying this or not, so we're going to find out and see if this is actually a matte or shimmer, but it definitely seems like it's just a satin. Which satins just really confuses me because I feel like you can use them both as a shimmer and a matte, but I think I prefer using them as mattes because they're just not intense enough for me to be used as shimmers. So I'm just placing that on most of my lower lash line here. I'm going to keep probably the inner portion open in case I want to go in with a gold or something like that. So next what I want to do is, do I want to just put the glitter all over my lid? Do I want to cut my crease? What do I really want to do? I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to take Dandy, which is this kind of yellowish shimmer here.
That is so pretty.
And I think I'm going to lay that down as my base on my lid and then go in with the glitter on top. So we're going to try that. And I feel like this shimmer is going to be intense enough that I definitely don't need to cut my crease. So this is where we're at. My camera did shut off, so I just went ahead and finished up with the yellow shimmer here. And now I'm just going to go back in with that black and make sure that the edges are looking nice. It doesn't have to be perfect here on the outer part because, like I said, I'm going to go in with that pressed glitter. And it's probably going to cover up a little bit of this, but that's totally fine. I will say though, I'm not very good at working with glitters because I never do, so I'm not really sure how opaque I'm going to be able to get it, how it's going to lay on my eyes. So I'm also just going to run a little bit more of this black just through my crease here. So it's definitely looking a little bit rough with the black. I wasn't able to properly blend this out all the way on the inner part here. I feel like it's looking a little bit streaky, but I mean, it's fun. We're not striving for perfection here anyway. So let's go in with the glitter glue now. I obviously need to use the glitter glue if I can find it. So I'm going to take my Too Faced glitter glue and then I'm going to, I guess, do one eye at a time because I don't really want this to dry out on me before I have time to go in with the glitter. So let's just see how this goes. I have some glitter glue on my brush here and I'm just going to pack that in the middle of my lid. I'm not going to pull it all the way into my inner corner. I'm just going to focus it right in the middle here. And then I'm just going to take that same brush and hopefully this will stick to my eyes. That is really, really pretty though. I'm always just scared of pressed glitters because I don't want to get them into my eyes. I mean, I will say this is absolutely beautiful, but I am in no way going to be able to get this to look even over my lid. But I guess that's fine. It doesn't have to be perfect. So, I mean, you can't deny that that is quite beautiful. I mean, that is really pretty, even though I feel like I have glitter in my eye already because they're sticking to my eyelashes. So I think I'm going to call this good with the lid. I feel like I can like feel the glitter on my eye, which is so weird. So I hope they're just going to stick to my eye now because otherwise I'm going to be really annoyed. So I think for the rest of my like inner portion of my lower lash line, I'm going to go into Sunburst, which is the lightest of the shimmers in this palette. And I'm just going to kind of wrap this around down to where that pink is. And that is a beautiful kind of greeny duochrome. I was not expecting that. And I already have glitter all over my face. Yeah. Okay, so we're going to just call this good. I think I'm going to just go ahead and finish up the rest of my eyes. What do I want to do though? I think I'm just going to put Screamin' by LA Girl in my waterline. This is kind of a neon. Do I even? No, I don't want to use this. I'm going to put Punch by Colourpop in my waterline. This is more of a warm toned yellow. I feel like that's going to go a lot better with the look. So I'm going to pop that in the waterline. Try to do some liner. I'm not sure how that's going to go on top of the glitter, but I'm going to do that, do some mascara, put on a lipstick, and I will be right back and tell you my final thoughts on this palette. Alright, so here is the final look. Ignore this awful lipstick application, but I'm going to take this off after I'm done filming, so we're just going to leave it. This is one of the Ultra Satin lipsticks by Colourpop. It's in the shade Darling. It's very dried out, so yeah, it wasn't that easy to work with, but I thought it would look really good with this look, and honestly, I really like how this look came out, especially with those two added colors. I feel like that really made this eye look pop. So as for my thoughts on this palette, I really thought that all of these shadows performed really well. Now, obviously, I didn't use that many. I used, wait, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Wait, I didn't use this one, but I used 5. So 5 shadows out of 9. I mean, that's not too bad. So I want to say that I like this palette. Like I said before, this is not for me a standalone palette. I'm never going to use this on its own. Do I wish that there wasn't a pressed glitter in this? Yeah, probably, because I'm not the biggest fan of pressed glitters, but this pressed glitter is absolutely stunning. But it's just I don't know. It's a pain in the ass to work with loose glitters, and I'm not looking forward to taking this off. That is like the worst part for me, taking off glitters, because I'm so scared of getting them into my eyes. So let me know if you have any good advice on like how to actually take glitters off of your eyes. I've heard some people say that they use tape and stuff, but that just sounds really scary, so not about that. So anyway, I do really like this palette. I think it's cute. I mean, it's $12, what's not to like, you know? Plus, I do consider myself a bit of a collector with all of these monochromatic palettes now because I do have all of them. So yeah, let me know if you got this palette. Let me know if you are interested in this palette. I would love to hear your thoughts if you've tried this, because I think a lot of people are going to really like this because I like it and I approve because I like all of the small Colourpop palettes. I will say that the quality is what you would expect from Colourpop. It's, you know, it's very good basic standard quality. So yeah, thank you for watching this video as always. If you want to see some other first impressions that I have, I will pop some up on the screen for you so you can keep watching. And if you're new to my channel, I would love it if you would consider subscribing, and I will see you in my next one.